Snuffle mats are a great indoor dog enrichment activity. They're perfect when it's too cold or too hot outside, and they're also just a great way to give your dog something to play with, an interactive and enriching game when you're in the middle of a busy day. But how do you choose the right snuffle mat for your dog? Well, I'm Tori Mystic. I'm a certified canine enrichment expert. I've been blogging about my life with dogs for over 13 years. I'm joined here by my almost 14-year-old Labrador, Bert, and we're going to tell you what we love about these new snuffle mats that I got and compare it to this DIY snuffle mat that I made last year. Snuffle mats are really great because they tap into your dog's natural sense of smell. It's olfactory enrichment. So they're using their nose to find the hidden treats or food that you have tucked away in all these folds of these snuffle mats. It's also a little bit of a brain game. So it's good cognitive enrichment because especially for ones like this butterfly, which are a little bit complex, they have to figure out how to get all the treats out of it. Snuffle mats can also be great physical enrichment because your dog has to move their body and manipulate around to find the treats that are hidden inside. So this is a really great enrichment game, especially for dogs who are food motivated. Like you, Bert, huh? You're very food motivated. So I recently got these two brand new snuffle mats from PawzNDogz. They're an awesome family-run business. So they're high quality, thoughtfully designed snuffle mats, and some of them are really creative and really cool. So I have two of those here with me today. But first, before I tell you about all the cool features of these PawzNDogz snuffle mats, I want to show you this DIY one that I made. So I made this last year. I have a YouTube video that has a lot of views about how to make this because you can do this for under $10. The back side of it is actually a sink mat from the Dollar Tree. This supersized one that I made is actually two sink mats, and I zip tied them together in the center here. And then I cut all these little fleece strips and I ended up tying them all in knots on the front of the mat. So it's a nice, thick, dense, lush snuffle mat. We've used it many, many times. I'm sure there's lots of treat residue in here, and so Bert's always kind of interested. He knows when this comes out, there's going to be some food coming out. So he loves this. It's an easy thing to do, but it is time consuming to tie all these knots. And what I like about this DIY snuffle mat is that you can wash it, you can hand wash it in the sink. That's what I do every once in a while. I just submerge it in some soapy water in the sink, swish it all around, and then I let it drip dry or hang to dry. But there are some drawbacks to the DIY snuffle mat. Of course, this is handmade and homemade, so it's not super durable. And as I'm looking at the back of it right now, I can see a few spots where the sink mat has broken. But this one has held up pretty well. We're pretty happy with it. But when I heard from PawzNDogz that they wanted to send me some new snuffle mats to check out, I was really excited because the thing is, as a DIY person, I've actually never had a store-bought snuffle mat ever. And I've been blogging about life with dogs for 13 years. I'm a certified canine enrichment expert. You would think I would have tried all the snuffle mats, but I've actually only ever done DIY versions. So I was really excited. I said, send me your top picks, your favorite customer snuffle mats. So we have two. The first one is this amazingly beautiful and huge butterfly, which Bert is very interested in. And then we have another one here. This I think is called the Fire and Ice model, and it's heavy, guys. This is heavy duty, and it's because this one specifically is for dogs who might tend to kind of chew on their snuffle mats or try to throw them across the room. It actually has suction cups on all four corners, so you can try to stick it to the floor so your dog doesn't move it around and fling it across the room. And the loops on the top of it are actually this very thick webbing material. So this is very chew resistant. It's not chew proof, of course. You always want to supervise your dog as they're doing any kind of enrichment activity, because one of the best benefits of enrichment is getting to bond with your dog. So remember that none of these activities are really babysitters. You shouldn't use enrichment as something to get your dog to leave you alone for the maximum amount of time. You want it to be something that you're kind of doing together. So I can tell that Bert is looking for the treats that I have hidden up on the mantle behind me. I'm going to grab those and show you how we play with these snuffle mats. All right, so usually I would do this up on the counter and I would sprinkle the treats around, but Bert is very engaged and I also want you to be able to see this on camera. So I have a handful of kibble right here. which my Labrador is very interested in eating. And what I would do to play with this snuffle mat, specifically this butterfly one from PawzNDogz, I'm going to separate some of the layers of the fleece, just using my hands, and sprinkle a few pieces of kibble between all of the different folds. And then for these kind of like little cup sections that have some nice fluffy fleece in between them, I'm also just going to sprinkle a couple pieces of kibble. You don't need to use a ton of kibble to make this a really fun game. There you go. Go ahead, Bert. All right, I'm going to let Bert snuffle while I tell you about some of the other features I like of these snuffle mats. Both the butterfly and the fire and ice one have a sturdy, non-slip backing material. So this is really nice compared to my DIY version, which has no non-slip backing at all. And they're both very sturdy and kind of heavy duty. So while I can fold this up, if it's flat on the ground, it's not really going to go anywhere. So I really like that. You can see the butterfly has a huge surface area. So this is great for big dogs like Bert. Actually, the length of the butterfly is almost the length of his whole body. So this is a huge snuffle mat. Now, this is something you could totally do it with beginners. If you have a dog that's never done this before, I would just sprinkle the kibble right on top. Don't necessarily hide it in between the folds. But if you're a dog like Bert, who's been doing snuffle mats for years and you're sort of an expert level snuffle mat solver, you can hide things in the different folds. So this is a great snuffle mat because it will kind of grow with your dog's ability. Now, like I said, you want to kind of sit and do your snuffle mat with your dog. Of course, you're not going to be going in there and picking out the kibble and everything, but it's really nice to just kind of be present with your dog. In fact, there have been some studies that have shown that when you are present with your dog actually works harder and has a bigger sense of satisfaction when they solve these puzzles. So don't use canine enrichment activities as a babysitter or a way to get your dog to leave you alone for the maximum amount of time. You actually want to spend time together, and this is going to deepen the bond that you share. So you can see that Bert, he's using his nose, he's using his mouth and his teeth, he's even using his paws to engage and get the kibble out of this mat. That makes it a really great canine enrichment activity where he's tapping into a lot of his different senses. So we definitely give the PawzNDogz snuffle mats 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend checking them out. They are totally worth the investment, much more heavy duty, much more durable, and also a much more complex puzzle than my DIY version of my snuffle mat. Although this is still a really great standby. This is the one that we bring out when we want to have a little bit more fun. You'll find in the description below I have an affiliate link, and you can use code TORI, T-O-R-I, to get 10% off your order. And if you want to learn more about canine enrichment, indoor dog enrichment ideas, and all kinds of fun, you can check out Dog Enrichment with Tori Mystic. That's my new limited series podcast where each episode is a deep dive into a different category of dog enrichment. And of course, remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos.